Society tells men that after 60, the game is over. It's a cruel narrative, and I see it every day in my practice. Men who have built empires, families, and meaningful lives suddenly feel invisible. They enter the social or dating scene and feel like the world is looking right through them, as if their value has an expiration date. They devoutly believe the cultural lie that women now only seek youth, the superficial vigor of a younger man, or perhaps just the security of a larger bank account. As a relationship psychologist, someone who interviews women every week about what they truly desire in maturity, I can tell you categorically, this is not just a lie, it's a tragic waste of their greatest asset. Look, there's a psychological superpower that only mature men possess. It's not something you can buy, fake, or learn in a weekend seminar. It's something forged by time, experience, victories, and, most importantly, scars. It's a way of being in the world, an energy you project that younger men simply can't access. Women, especially mature and self-assured women, aren't just open to it, they crave Italiano. They find this quality deeply, almost magnetically, attractive. It's a confident authenticity that's impossible for a younger man to replicate. It's the calmness of someone who's seen the world, who isn't easily impressed, but who, crucially, still has a spark in their eyes. And here's the tragedy I see. The reason I made this video. Most men who possess this power waste it. Every day, they suppress it. They hide it. Feeling insecure about their age, they fall into the trap of trying to compete in the wrong game. They try to act like younger men, using tactics that no longer suit them, or they flaunt wealth and status in a way that sounds desperate and empty. They stifle their experience, their stories, their calmness, thinking it's boring or old. They trade their innate superpower, that hard-won authenticity, for a cheap imitation of what they think women want. But what women really can't resist is exactly what you've spent the last 60 years building. Today, I'm going to show you how to stop wasting it. I'm Dr. Scarlett Cole, and my career as a sociologist and relationship psychologist has been dedicated to a single focus: translating the complex dynamics of human attraction, especially in maturity. I don't base my work on outdated theories or locker room anecdotes. I base it on hundreds of direct interviews, rigorous studies of social behavior, and observing what really happens when men and women interact after 50, 60, and beyond. My job is to separate what people say they want from what their hearts and minds truly respond to. And what I've discovered is that mature men are sitting on a goldmine of attraction potential, but they're using the wrong map. Today, I'm going to give you the right map. I'm going to show you exactly how to activate this innate power, detailing the specific behaviors that make up this confident authenticity. Many men I talk to think it's about looking 40 again, or having a billionaire's bank account. It's not. It's about how you occupy the space, how you listen, how you share your story, and most importantly, how you see yourself. We'll break down these behaviors one by one, and I ask that you stay with me until the end, because the last behavior I'm going to reveal is the most powerful of all. It's also the most counterintuitive and goes directly against what most dating gurus teach, but it's what can permanently change the game for you. Before we begin with the first behavior, I want to do something. If you believe that men and women deserve to find authentic connections based on truth and not on cultural myths, hit the like button below right now. It's a signal to me and to you that we're ready for an honest conversation. Now, let's move on to the first pillar of what makes a mature man truly irresistible. Let's start with the most fundamental pillar, and this is where I see most mature men miss the mark. I call it the lighthouse factor. The solution, the easy win, is this: you must have a project, a passion, or a purpose that excites you more than finding a partner. This can be anything from woodworking, starting a consulting business, learning to sail, mentoring young professionals, or even planning the perfect backpacking trip. It's not what you do, it's the energy you bring to it. The man who is actively engaged in something he loves, something that challenges him and makes him wake up in the morning with a sense of mission, radiates an energy that is impossibly attractive. The psychological mechanism behind this is crucial. Genuine attraction, the kind of deep and lasting attraction that mature women seek, doesn't grow in the soil of neediness. It withers and dies when it senses you need it to be happy. It flourishes, however, in admiration. When a woman finds a man who is already complete, who has his own source of vitality, he isn't looking for someone to complete him. Instead, he is gracefully seeking someone to share his already interesting and fulfilling life with. This removes all pressure from the interaction. He isn't draining her energy. He's inviting her into his vibrant world. Most men, especially after divorce or widowhood, make the mistake of making the search for a partner their primary goal. They become hunters. And this hunting energy, this need, is felt by the woman a mile away. She feels like a target, not a potential ally. The man with the lighthouse factor, on the other hand, reverses this dynamic. He's not hunting, he's shining. His passion for life, whatever it may be, acts as a living demonstration of his capacity to nurture, to commit, and to feel joy. He doesn't need to talk about his worth. He's living it right in front of her. The analogy I always use is that of a lighthouse. Think about it. A lighthouse doesn't worry about whether ships are noticing it. It doesn't drop its foundations and swim desperately toward a ship, begging it to come ashore. No, the lighthouse simply anchors itself to the rock, remains steadfast, and shines. It does its job. It illuminates the darkness with its singular purpose. And, because of its constant and reliable light, ships are naturally drawn to it. They sail toward it, seeking its guidance and safety. You, with your purpose, are that lighthouse? Your passion is your light. From a scientific standpoint, this is undeniable. Several studies, including research on longevity and well-being in older populations, show a direct and powerful link between having a strong sense of purpose and positive indicators of health, vitality, and, yes, social attractiveness. Men with clear hobbies and passions are perceived as more energetic, more resilient, and more interesting. They are literally, on a biochemical level, more alive. Evolutionary psychology suggests that we seek partners who demonstrate vitality, and nothing demonstrates more vitality after 60 than a clear and passionate purpose. It's not about muscles. It's about mission. I vividly remember a patient of mine, Clara, 58 years old. She was frustrated with the dating scene. She went out with 2 men in consecutive weeks. The first was rich, handsome for his age, and, as she put it, retired from everything. His entire life revolved around where to have lunch. The second was John, 67 years old, a retired professor who was, in his words, obsessed with building a wooden boat by hand in his garage. He talked about the joints, the wood, the smell of the varnish, with a light in his eyes. Clara couldn't stop talking about John. His passion was magnetic. She said, "Doctor, I don't care about boats, but I care about passion. I saw a man who knows how to love something." So, before we move on to the next point, I want you to reflect on this. It's an exercise in honesty. Comment below and tell me, what is your lighthouse project at the moment? What gets you out of bed? If you don't have one, that's okay. Write down what you used to love doing. Let's inspire each other in the comments. The second behavior is a subtle but game-changing shift. It's something I call the mirror, or validating listening. The solution is simple in theory, but difficult in practice. In conversation, you must stop trying to solve her problems or compete with her stories. Instead, your only job is to ask open-ended questions and validate the feeling behind her words. It's the shift from "let me fix this" or "this reminds me of a time when ... double quotes to "this seems to have been incredibly frustrating for you. Tell me more about how you felt." This shift is rare and, in a noisy world, addictive. Let's analyze the why of this. Men, especially younger men, are conditioned to compete and demonstrate value through action and solutions. When a woman presents a problem, the male instinct is to offer a solution. "You should do X. Why didn't you try Y?" But 90% of the time, she's not sharing to get a solution. She's sharing to get connection. She wants to know she's not alone in her feelings. Younger men, trying to impress, listen to find an opening to speak, to appear intelligent or capable. They listen to respond. The mature and confident man offers something far more valuable: presence. When you practice validating listening, you make her feel like the most important person, and perhaps the only one, in the room. You are communicating with your actions. What you feel matters to me. Your experience is valid. In a world where everyone is looking at their phones, waiting for their turn to speak, being deeply and truly listened to by a calm and present man is one of the most profoundly attractive experiences a woman can have. It's a form of intellectual and emotional respect that creates a bubble of instant intimacy. She's not being judged, she's not being fixed, she's being seen. The analogy I use here is that of conversational tennis. Most people play tennis in a conversation. As soon as the ball, her idea, passes to their side of the net, their only goal is to hit it back as quickly and hard as possible with their story, their solution, their opinion. It's competitive. It's fast. It's exhausting. The attractive and mature man doesn't play tennis. He holds the ball she gave him. A. Examines Italiano. A. Admires Italiano. He says, "This is an interesting ball." He validates it, and only then, gently, does he return it with a question that deepens the game. He's not competing, he's co-creating. The father of humanistic psychology, Carl Rogers, built his entire therapeutic theory on this principle, calling it unconditional positive regard. He proved that when people feel truly heard without judgment, the number one feedback I receive from my female patients about bad dates is, "I felt like he wasn't even there. He was just waiting to impress me." And the feedback about great dates, I can't even explain it. I felt so like myself. He was really listening. The difference is colossal. You don't need to be a therapist. You just need to be curious about it. I remember a client, Mark, a brilliant 64-year-old engineer. He was a chronic fixer. In our work, we practiced only one thing. He had to ask 3 probing questions before he was allowed to give a single opinion. He went on a date and called me afterward, shocked. He said, "Scarlett, it was the most incredible conversation I've had in years. And you know the craziest part? I barely spoke. I just asked questions and said, 'That makes sense.'" In the end, she told me she'd never felt so connected to someone so quickly. That's the magic of the mirror. Before we continue, I want you to think honestly, which of these behaviors I've mentioned so far, the lighthouse or the mirror, do you think you've most wasted in the past? Which one have you neglected? Be honest with yourself. Type lighthouse or mirror in the comments below. Acknowledging is the first step to change. The third behavior will seem daunting to many men, as it goes against decades of social conditioning about what it means to be strong. I call this the open scar, or selective vulnerability. The easy win is this. Instead of just flaunting your victories and successes, which anyone can do, you're not afraid to share, at the right moment, a story of a past failure or a significant challenge you overcame. The key here is the tone. You're not being a poor me, you're not complaining, and you're not seeking pity. You're simply stating a fact of your life that shaped you. Why is this so powerful? Because it signals the exact opposite of weakness. In a young man, vulnerability can sometimes be interpreted as instability or lack of experience. In a mature man, it signals immense strength. It communicates, "I have lived. Primera, abifuga, I have learned. Y no longer have a fragile ego that needs protecting. I am no longer trying to prove anything to anyone." The younger man shows up for the date wearing shining armor, trying to appear perfect and invincible. The mature and attractive man doesn't need armor. He has traded that heavy, false armor for his authentic skin. A man who is able to share a story of hardship, perhaps, a business that failed at 50, a difficult divorce he went through, a health challenge he overcame without bitterness or shame, shows her 2 crucial things. First, he has resilience, the ability to take a beating and get back up. Second, he is psychologically secure. She senses that if he can be honest and non-defensive about his own failures, he will also be a safe partner for her in her moments of imperfection. He won't judge her or try to fix her because he has already made peace with his own imperfections. My favorite analogy for this is exactly this. Armor versus scars. The young soldier, insecure and frightened, polishes his armor so that it shines. He wears it all the time, even though it's heavy, because he thinks it makes him look invincible. But the armor only hides what's underneath. The veteran general, the mature man, no longer wears armor. He doesn't need to. He enters the room calmly. He has visible scars from past battles. And he doesn't hide them. These scars don't prove that he was vulnerable to injury. They prove that he was capable of surviving them. The scars prove that he is, in fact, invincible. Puntale. Researcher Breen Brown has built an entire career scientifically proving what good psychologists have always known. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the cradle of human connection. It is the only path to true intimacy. You cannot connect with someone who presents themselves as perfect. You can only admire or envy that person. You can only connect with someone who is real. By sharing your story of resilience, you give them permission to be real too. This is not a trick. It is the only path to an authentic and mature connection. I had a client, Robert, 69, a retired executive who had this intimidating aura of perfection. He was having trouble getting past the third date. Women found him impressive, but not attractive. I asked him to share the story of how he went bankrupt at 52. Before rebuilding his career, he was horrified, thought it would make him look like a failure. He finally agreed to try it. On the third date with a woman, he told the story, not as a tragedy, but as his greatest lesson. She called me afterward. She said, "Doctor, that is, when I fell in love, it wasn't the success story. It was the survival story." Before I reveal the fourth behavior, which has to do with touch, I want you to tell me in the comments. Have you heard of this power of selective vulnerability before? Or is it a new concept for you? If it's something you've never thought about this way, just type new below. I want to know how many people are having an aha moment right now. The fourth behavior is subtle, yet incredibly powerful. It's where psychology meets the physical. I call it the gentleman's touch, or non-sexual physical comfort. The solution, the easy win, is learning to use appropriate social touch with calm, grounded confidence. I'm talking about a light tap on the elbow to guide her down the sidewalk, a firm but respectful hand on the small part of her back to guide her through a crowded doorway, or a greeting or farewell hug that is firm and present but doesn't linger uncomfortably. It's a touch that asks for nothing in return. The mechanism here is profound and operates on an almost pre-verbal level. Women, in particular, are extremely attuned to the intention behind a man's touch. In their experience, they frequently encounter two types of touch that repel them. The first is the hesitant touch, the touch that asks, almost fearfully. It's the touch of the insecure man, and it makes her insecure, making her feel she needs to manage his anxiety. The second, and worse, is the predatory touch, the touch that takes. It's the touch of the needy or arrogant man who is trying to elicit a reaction or force an intimacy that hasn't yet been achieved. Both are repellent. The gentleman's touch is the third way. It's a touch that offers security, it offers respect, it offers presence. When a mature man uses this confident and calm touch, he is communicating nonverbally. I am a man. You are a woman. I notice you. I am here to make your way a little easier. It's okay, I'm here, I am safe. This type of touch, when done correctly, creates a bubble of instant intimacy and trust. It separates her from the rest of the room and places her in a safe space with you. It is protective, not possessive. The analogy I would give is that of a ballroom dance. The inexperienced dance partner is either too hesitant, making his partner feel insecure and having to guess his moves, or he is too aggressive, pulling her and forcing her into uncomfortable positions. The dance is awkward and full of anxiety. The master of the dance, the mature man, leads with a calm firmness. His hand on her back is a guide, not a vice. His structure is solid. She doesn't need to think. She can relax in his leadership. She feels safe, beautiful, and completely present in the moment with him. That is the effect of the gentleman's touch. Scientifically, we know the power of this. Studies on the release of oxytocin, the trust hormone or cuddle hormone, show that appropriate non-sexual touch is one of the quickest ways to reduce stress cortisol and build a sense of bonding and security between two people. You are literally, on a hormonal level, telling her brain that you are an ally, not a threat. In a mature man, this touch is even more potent because it is supported by his age. It is perceived as more paternal and protective, which gives him a little more freedom to use it. effectively than a younger man. I saw this in action so clearly. A client of mine was afraid of any physical touch, fearing it would be inappropriate. Instead, he seemed cold and distant. We practiced the simple action of placing his hand on the back of her chair when she sat down, or offering her his hand to steady her as she got out of the car. Small gestures. He came back, saying the conversations felt warmer, more connected. The women laughed, More felt calmer. He wasn't trying something. He was simply being a present and physically present gentleman, and it changed the entire dynamic of his interaction. These 4 pillars, the lighthouse, the mirror, the scar, and the touch, are the foundation. They already put you ahead of 99% of other men. But now, we need to talk about the final behavior. The 5th. The one I promised at the beginning. This is what ties everything together and makes you truly irresistible. It's the opposite of what most men are taught to do, and it's what I call the mountain. This is the ultimate superpower, the behavior that most mature men waste, usually because they fall into the needy trap. The solution, the easy win, is this: the ability to be perfectly happy, complete, and satisfied on your own. You don't need her to validate your existence. You don't need her to fill your time. Your life is already full. And because your life is full, you're not interviewing her for the job of making you happy. You're actively choosing her as someone with whom you'd like to share your already existing happiness. Attraction dies instantly when a man puts a woman on a pedestal and makes her his sole focus, his only project. The man who is complete on his own, de montagne, becomes the greatest prize. Precisely because he's not playing the game of detachment. He's genuinely detached from the outcome. The psychological mechanism for this is the most powerful of all. It's the difference between I need you and I want you. The energy of needing is a burden. It places an impossible responsibility on her shoulders. The energy of wanting is an honor. It's a compliment of the highest order. Most men act like an incomplete puzzle, walking around with missing pieces, desperately searching for her, the missing piece, so that he can finally feel whole. This is the energy that repels mature women. The irresistible man, the mountain man, is the already complete puzzle. He built himself. He spent decades finding all his own pieces. And now, he invites her not to fix him, but to admire the beautiful picture he has already created, and perhaps, to build something new together. This aligns perfectly with the scarcity principle in social psychology. We value what is rare and not easily obtained. A man who is completely satisfied with his own life is the rarest person in any room. I remember the most irresistible man I interviewed for my research, a 70-year-old widower named David. He had a calm smile and said something I'll never forget. "Doctor, my life is fantastic. I tend my garden. I read my books. I travel with my children. It would be wonderful to share this with someone special, but if not, my life remains fantastic." That's the kind of energy women can't resist. So, let me ask you, and be honest in the comments, on a scale of 1 to 10, how comfortable are you being alone? Look, the it that women can't resist in men over 60 isn't a technique you learn. It's the result of a life lived. It's the harvest of everything you've sown. It's your purpose, the lighthouse, your calm and presence, the mirror, your story of resilience, the scar, your secure confidence, the gentleman's touch, and finally, your complete independence, the mountain. Most mature men hide these qualities. They see them as baggage or think they're worthless in the modern market. The truth is, this is your greatest and most valuable asset. Stop wasting it. If this perspective from Dr. Scarlett Cole was helpful to you today, if it gave you a new sense of hope or clarity, I ask 3 things. First, hit the like button right now. Second, if you haven't already, subscribe for more in-depth analysis of the psychology of attraction in maturity. And third, if you know a friend, a parent, or a sibling who needs to stop wasting their potential and hear this message, share this video with them. And in the comments, tell me, which of these 5 changes are you committing to starting today? This video is based on the professional opinions of Dr. Scarlett Cole and is intended for educational and entertainment purposes. Results are not guaranteed, but the potential for growth is yours to take. We've arrived at the final behavior. The one I promised at the beginning. This is what ties everything together. The true superpower that most men waste. Usually because they fall into the trap of neediness. I call it the mountain. The solution is this. The ability to be perfectly, genuinely happy, complete, and satisfied on your own. You don't need her to validate your existence. You don't need her to fill your time or cure your loneliness. Your life is already full. And because your life is full, you're not interviewing her for the job of making you happy. You're actively choosing her as someone with whom you'd like to share your already existing happiness. Attraction dies instantly when a man puts a woman on a pedestal and makes her his sole focus. The psychological mechanism here is the most potent of all. And it's the crucial difference between I need you and I want you. The energy of needing is a burden. It places an impossible responsibility on her shoulders to be your sole source of happiness. The energy of wanting is a compliment of the highest order. The man who is a mountain is secure in who he is. He is not detached by gambling. He is genuinely detached from the outcome because he knows that, no matter what happens, he is the prize. The analogy is simple. Most men act like an incomplete puzzle, desperately searching for the missing piece so they can feel whole. The mountain man is the complete and assembled puzzle, inviting her to admire the picture with him. This aligns perfectly with the scarcity principle in psychology. We simply value what is rare and not easily obtained. A man who is completely satisfied with his own company and life is the rarest person in any room. I remember the most irresistible man I interviewed for my research, a 70-year-old widower named David. He had a calm smile and said something I'll never forget. "Doctor, my life is fantastic. I tend my garden. I read my books. I travel with my children. It would be wonderful to share this with someone special, but if not, my life remains fantastic." That's the energy that mature women can't resist. So, you see, the id that women can't resist in men over 60 isn't a technique you learn. It's the result of a life lived. It's the harvest of everything you've sown. It's your purpose, the lighthouse, your calm and presence, the mirror, your story of resilience, the scar, your confident self, the gentleman's touch, and finally, your complete independence, the mountain. Most mature men hide these qualities. They see them as baggage or think they're worthless in the modern market. The truth is, this is your greatest and most valuable asset. Stop wasting it. Remember, vitality isn't about age, it's about authenticity. You're in control. If this perspective from Dr. Scarlett Cole was helpful and gave you a new sense of hope or clarity, I ask that you do 3 things right now to solidify this change. First, hit the like button below so I know this message resonated with you and so more men like you can find it. Second, and most importantly, if you know a friend, father, or brother who needs to stop wasting his potential and hear this truth, share this video with him right now. Third, subscribe if you haven't already for more in-depth analysis of the psychology of attraction in maturity. And finally, as a commitment, tell me in the comments, which of these 5 changes, the lighthouse, the mirror, the scar, the touch, or the mountain are you committing to starting today? I want to read your answer. Remember, this video is based on the professional opinions of Dr. Scarlett Cole and is intended for educational and entertainment purposes. Results are not guaranteed, but the potential for your growth is yours too. They